Yo, what's good, anime fam? It's your boy Raysean from the Raysean Gadson Anime Podcast, or RGAP for short. And on today's episode, we're interviewing special guest Kyle Hebert, a professional voice actor who is known for classics like Dragon Ball, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, One Punch Man. Join us as we dive into the world of voice acting, exploring Kyle's personal journey and achievements, uncovering his anime origin story, and we'll also be sharing tips for anyone out there trying to get into voice acting. If that sounds interesting to you, then sit back and enjoy the ride. Before we get started, I just wanted to allow my guests the opportunity to introduce themselves, basically tell everybody where you're from and what you do, and also tell us your top 2 favorite characters from any action anime.
Hey there, my name's Kyle Hebert. I've been a voice actor since 2000, and I am now based in Burbank, aka Los Angeles, California. 2 favorite anime action characters. Man, it's tough. Can I be totally biased and say that Gohan is awesome?
Yeah.
I might as well go ahead. Everybody loves Gohan.
And you know what? Another one, I'm not a part of it, but I wish I could have been, was Cowboy Bebop. I think Spike Spiegel is the man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's an amazing pick. I wouldn't expect you to pick that. Okay.
Right. If I had a little more time to really think about it, I'd probably go, Godzilla. No, I don't know.
Dude,
He's better in live action.
Who wouldn't want to be Godzilla?
Right? Yeah, now they have the Fortnite skins. Mecha Godzilla.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And also on this episode, we have a co-host with us. Tell us your top 2 favorite action anime characters, and also tell us where you're from.
Hey guys, I'm Carlos, but you can call me Crazy Otaku. I'm actually from 2 different podcasts. I am from, well, I'll say that for later on. It's fine, but my favorite 2 anime characters are Naruto, just because I grew up watching Naruto as a kid. And then I would definitely say Luffy from One Piece, again, because I grew up watching that as a kid. Those are my top 2. Now, if we're talking about Dragon Ball Z, we're talking about just besides the main characters, it's definitely Gohan, especially when I watched Dragon Ball Super Hero.
Okay.
Beast Gohan was literally badass, so freaking badass.
I mean, I'm a little biased too that, Mr. Great Saiyaman here, he deserves. I mean, he should have been in Superhero. The movie is called Superhero.
You know,
He had a little bit of some scenes in there. I think what made Gohan so good in that movie to me, action wise, was the fact that he was using a lot of WWE wrestling moves. Like if you were watching it, like he was using the DDT and like suplexes and stuff. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I love his
and then the
choreography.
ultimate callback.
Oh, dude, that was so epic.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked to get to do that, since a lot of people through the years have just thought I voiced Kid Gohan, and that was Stephanie Nadolny. And I say, I voiced the one after Cell. And it's like, well, Cell was like the pinnacle of his character arc. And like, yeah, I know, it's sad. But now he's not nerfed anymore. He's not studying 24/7, maybe 22/7, but So
hopefully you can get some good moments coming up. Because I mean, if we're talking about the manga wise, there's some amazing moments coming up. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see if they animate those for you.
But we'll be waiting probably years for Super to come back as an anime. But if I were Toei, I'd keep the fire stoked by dropping maybe a new one-shot movie here and there. And
yeah, I think that'd be the best idea, especially in trying to make sure you keep Gohan in there doing something. You know what I mean? Keep him on our minds.
That's right.
Because I don't know if he's going to be in Daima. They have given us no inkling. We don't even know if he's been turned to a kid. That's the thing. That's the funny thing.
No, I mean, in the first episode, this is not really a spoiler, but everyone's gathered at a party. It's like, where's Gohan? It's like, I think he's off studying. It's like, oh, I guess I'm not in the show.
Man, that's so funny.
Poor Gohan. I want to ask you about that, because I remember what was it? I actually remember back in an early interview, you actually said that you actually started doing Gohan legitimately during the Great Saiyaman saga, but you auditioned actually for Gohan back in 2000. That was your first role.
Yeah, my first big role. I mean, they start everyone out for anime with bit parts just to make sure they can handle the technical aspect of acting, taking direction, matching lip sync. What's this person like to work with? And I guess I passed the test. I started doing like bit part unnamed characters on Bardock and the end of the Cell Saga, like King Furry, the big bear cat looking leader with glasses, like, oh, Shadow's attacking the city. And
oh, you played him? Oh, that's amazing. Okay. That's awesome.
A member of Mr. Bourbon's gang. We had to pronounce it different because, for kids' TV, Mr. Bourbon, Bourbon, whatever.
I see.
Yeah. So once he goes to high school, that is where I took over the voice. And I have been so blessed to be a part of this wild ride of anime, video games, and the Comic-Con Anime Con circuit for now. This is year 25.
Okay. Speaking of video games, I actually remember something. You got to do the voice of Ryu. How cool was that actually getting to do like an epic Street Fighter character?
Well, it is Ryu because Capcom told me it's Ryu. I've heard people say, tomato, but they said it's pronounced Ryu, and it's not Hadouken, it's Hadoken. And yeah, so the first time they had English voices was Street Fighter 4. And I tried out in 2007. I read for Ryu, Ken, E Honda, Bison, and then El Fuerte, who was a new character for that. And then, when you're a voice actor, most of the time you're not going to get the gig. You just want to be heard, have fun, move on with your day. So I did. 2 months after my audition, the original Blanca, Taliesin Jaffe, who's now part of, Critical Role, he was the director for Street Fighter 4. We were at a con together. He goes, "Congrats, you got the man." I go, "Excuse me? What's the man?" He goes, "You got Ryu." Like, oh, like, man, I used to drop so many tokens / quarters at the arcade and button mash my way through all that. So unreal to be a part of another huge franchise.
That's epic.
That's amazing that you got to come back and be able to play that role. That's something I've been wanting to do myself since being a huge Dragon Ball fan my whole life. And then when I heard about what happened to Toriyama, it kind of made me feel down because I'm like, oh, it might not be much story going on, but I like the fact that they're considering keeping the story going and making more movies and stuff like that and keeping the manga going. So I guess the dream is still out there. So
I think so. His grown son is still a part of it. Toyotaro, the artist of the manga, is still involved. And yeah, Toei just needs to get all their ducks in a row. And they've got this huge franchise. And, to just pack your bags and leave, I don't think that would be wise. I don't know, the fans would be sad. And honestly, as a business, you're turning away a lot of income. Because we keep coming back. We buy the games. We go to the theater to watch the movies. We stream the shows. We are there. We're here for the long haul.
Yeah, and anime showed how important it is after like the pandemic when it was the only resource media keep going. And then that's what really gained how much popularity it is right now, just how popular it was during the pandemic season while it was still able to produce new episodes and was still working on ways to give actors money during that time. So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
Have either one of you guys actually heard of Dragon Ball AF?
I've never heard of that. I used to hear that name thrown about when we were doing GT.
So Dragon Ball AF is actually a fan-made series that was actually based on YouTube a lot. But ironically, here's the cool thing. So the creator of that is actually Toyotaro.
Oh.
Yeah. That's actually the cool thing. So Toriyama recognized his work and liked it so much. So he brought him on, taught him his stuff, and now he's now in charge of Dragon Ball, in a sense. But
wow.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So he did a fan-made thing, and that turned into a real gig with him working on the official thing.
Yeah.
That's rare.
If you go on YouTube and look up Dragon Ball AF, look up some of the artwork and how he designs some of his characters. Like one character's name is Zycor, which he's like an evil buffed up version of Goku, like mixed with Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 2. And look at the animation, the art style, and you see it's very similar to Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's awesome. I'd never heard that.
And just like also like Beast Gohan, I don't know. I think you actually mentioned it in an interview. I think it was you or someone else. I can't remember. But Beast Gohan was actually just like a joke character, meme character back in Japan. No, I think it was in Japan. I think it was actually another country. I think it was actually Portugal. I can't remember.
A Latino country, right? Gohan Blanco.
Yeah. Yes.
I've heard that for years. It's like Gohan Blanco.
Yeah, and now he actually. So Risha, I don't know if you know that, but they actually liked it so much. Like, okay, yeah, we made him to a legit character.
Wow.
I didn't know that myself. That's amazing. I think it's amazing that you start off making a fan made, then you come in to help out to take over the manga a little bit, to now you're almost the whole franchise. Like that to me is a hell of a come up. Just
Oh yeah,
I hate
that's a
how it
big thing.
happened, but it's just like
Right.
wow, like now I can make the decisions on what happens to Goku and create the
Sure.
storyline. Which I will say, Dragon Ball does have a fan community that's really like this story better make sense. You're not trying to do anything crazy or we will rebel. So I hope he works on that. But I just wanted to give my two favorite characters before we start
Oh, my
jumping
bad.
into questions and anything. My two favorite characters, I wanted to go Goku, but I always want to emphasize that I prefer Kid Goku over adult Goku. Main reason, I just feel like Kid Goku was more willing to, take some people out. You know what I mean? Where adult Goku is more, let's talk it out and but it'll be a little bit more buddy buddy. So I just like Kid Goku in that way in terms. For my next character, I'm gonna pick another Dragon Ball character. I'm gonna have to go with Frieza. I think Frieza is an amazing villain. I think every time I see him come on screen and he just takes over, he's one of the funniest people I've ever seen. Some of the things he says, it could be considered kind of really disrespectful, like depending on how you interpret it. But he he is hilarious to me. I find him to be very funny, and I love the fact that they keep bringing him back and allowing him to keep being stronger and stuff like that. Because I think it really creates a real foe for Goku, someone that he has to really keep being mindful that if I slack off any day, this person is always training to come and kill me any day. So I like that emphasis on Frieza.
Okay. Rock and roll, man.
Raysean, I say you just go ahead and actually ask him the questions you want to ask him.
Okay. For my first question, I'll ask. When did you know you wanted to become a voice actor, and what was the driving influence?
I think probably watching Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes with my dad on Saturday mornings. I was
Okay.
probably 7 or 8, and he told me about Mel Blanc. He's voicing all these characters. And then I started, seeing stuff as I grew older. I looked into Mel Blanc and seeing that, he was a big radio star and he was on TV a lot and everything. It's like, wow, that is just unreal. Even though a lot of the voices kind of sound similar, it's really about his acting.
Yeah.
It really, really was the focal point. And I think there just hasn't been another Mel Blanc in the industry since then. There's a lot of amazing, super talented people that I respect and look up to. I've been influenced by through the years, but if I had to just narrow it down to one, it'd be Mel Blanc. And I wish I had the chance to meet him. I know he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit with the little cameo of Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse falling, and they had the exact same amount of dialogue as the lawyers were going back and forth. He's saying too much. Well, we want to say more. Like, but that's the last thing he said. And I never had a chance to meet him, but like, boy, I wish he were still alive somehow. Let's go back in a time capsule and go back to and have him come to a Comic-Con so I can meet him as a fan and thank him for inspiring me. And I would just fanboy out if I had a chance to meet him.
Wayne, okay. I like how you answered that question. I wish I could have asked that in a question someone you would want to meet and fanboy over. So that's pretty cool because we also get to go to cons and always meet different people and stuff and get to fan out.
Dude, I fan out with fellow guests back in the green room behind the scenes at the con. It's like I was just in New Orleans. It's like, oh, wow, there's Christopher Lloyd. Oh, Giancarlo Esposito. Oh my gosh, there's and I just froze. I didn't, if they bumped into me or said hi or something, I said hi. I was, of course, like, hey, how's it going? And then I'm like, oh my God.
Based on what you were saying earlier, when you were saying Mel Blanc was kind of sounding like his characters were kind of sounding like him, it took me a while to notice that a lot of voice actors are kind of like that, especially from I think it's Linda. I can't think of her last name, who voices Genkai and Frieza.
Yeah, the original Frieza. Yeah.
And then when I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho and I was watching Dragon Ball, I remember hearing it and I was like, oh my God, are these the same and then I had to go back and do the research. And I also noticed with the voice actor that plays Sasuke and a lot of his other characters that he plays, they all sound very similar. So I was like, okay, so it's really just about the acting and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
trying to create a
the
different
characters are
voice.
what differentiate it. See, people will criticize, oh, Johnny Young Bosch sounds the same. He's a great actor.
Yes.
You know, if I sound like Gohan when I'm Kiba on Naruto and Kamina and Gurren Lagann and any young guy because it's basically just my voice. So, but those characters are very different and unique and individual. And, hopefully I've been able to help uh, lift the dialogue off the page and give a performance that the fans are happy with and honor the original creation from Japan.
For my next question, I want to ask you, what do you find most challenging and rewarding about being a voice actor?
Challenging is there's no consistency. There's no momentum necessarily. You audition for 100 things, you might get booked on one or two. And that doesn't matter whether you're new. That doesn't matter whether you're a veteran. That doesn't matter where you are in your career. You're going to be reading on things. And some fans have said, yeah, but you're on Dragon Ball. You should be on movies and stuff. It's like, it just doesn't work that way. Everyone's on a level playing field. When you're on an audition list, they'll send you this stuff based on your voice demo that they think you're a good match for. And we have fun with our auditions, send it off and hope for the best. But, it feels like biggest challenge is I can't control whether I get hired or not. And,
Okay.
I want to read for cartoons. I was inspired by Mel Blanc. I have a career that I'm so grateful for. Anime dubs, video games, and I've done some cartoon stuff, not a lot. Cartoons are the most fun because you get to record with a whole cast together in the same room. Anime and games, you're by yourself. And especially since the pandemic, we recorded at home during all that time. And now it's like a hybrid between going into the studio or recording in your home booth. My home booth happens to be a walk-in closet. So it gets the job done and I'm happy. I'm very, very proud. I took the risk to leave Texas, Dallas at the time. That's why I'm on Dragon Ball Z and all the Texas-based stuff, and came out west here to the coast. Things like Naruto and Bleach, which I booked within a few months of moving here.
Okay.
That's really epic. That's really cool. I am astonished how it happened so quickly.
Yes. Yeah. It takes 10 years to be an overnight sensation. That's a cliche for a reason,
Okay, that's a good. I never heard that, but I could see how it takes time because I mean you've played so many amazing roles. So do you think networking hasn't helped you been able to like get more roles and stuff like that versus like your average like amateur voice actor?
Yeah, networking is such a key part of it. And that's the business side of it, because basically you're in business for yourself. You are the product and you have to market that product. And it's really difficult if you're super introverted or even shy. And, I find it hard. I don't want to bug this casting director or this talent agent. It's like, I want to be yet another desperate actor going, hi, please consider me. Here's my demo. But that is how you do it, unless you're introduced at a party or some sort of social situation, which is what I like best because I don't have to try. I just happen to be in the same group of people and everyone just through conversation just happens like, hey, this is Kyle. Oh, hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm the casting director at Disney. Oh, hi, great to meet you, man. And then suddenly, you have a nice conversation. You talk to each other as people, not, hey, what can you do for me? And make legitimate friendships, relationships that will be respectful. And, because you got to be kind and grateful and gracious. Otherwise, if you're not and you're all ego, that goes around like the fires here in California. Everyone hears about it and then you get blacklisted. So luckily, pretty much everyone I know in this business is kind. They're funny. They're very approachable and they're really good actors. And everyone takes their craft seriously. They're passionate about it. But networking is so huge, so huge, as well as training yourself to be a good actor first by taking classes, getting experience, especially now, there's so many trained and working voice actors that actually do coaching over Zoom and such. So social media, man, they're all over the place. Network.
True.
Get out there, learn the craft.
Okay. What's your next question, Carlos?
I actually want to, since you actually spoke about Disney, like I said, I'll say this. Before you came on, when I found out we actually booked you, I was like, wow, that was incredible. That was incredibly fast because I just met our manager. I just asked him, hey, how hard is it to actually get Cal Hebert? He's like, might be difficult. Let me see. And immediately he's like, okay. So then I started doing my research on you. And then I saw that you worked on Radio Disney. How crazy, well, it might not be crazy, but like to us, it's crazy actually being able to meet someone who's actually worked with Disney. Like we see how big Disney is now. It's like the fact that you've had experience with them in some part. How incredible was that experience?
Yeah, come along in 1996. I was in Dallas. I was already in radio as a DJ, working on a hard rock station. And then that hard rock station went off the air. And then I heard that kids radio, Disney wanted to develop a radio product based out of Dallas. And I was kind of in the building with all these other people, and that was already a networking opportunity. Hey, I've heard your stuff on this station. I think you'd be a good fit for kids radio. Obviously, we lose the adult stuff and, any profanity and all that, but, you do wacky voices and cool characters, and I really like your approach. I think you'd be a good fit. So come on Mickey and Minnie's birthday in November of 1996, we went on the air in 4 AM radio test markets, and then that spread and then eventually became an online streaming thing. And kind of awesome. I met the voice of Mickey and Minnie. I met a lot of pop stars and Weird Al.
Weird Al, that's wild.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It was so much fun. Plus, it was just a playground for me. I got to be Robin Williams and Jim Carrey combined on the air. I could just be manic and just zany and have sound effects and build little music cues behind me and make it a theater of the mind thing. So I pretended that I was in a spaceship and all that stuff. So that was fun. Not a little, not like Teletubbies or for little kids. This was for older kids. Elementary school, and then the cutoff was probably about middle school, somewhere around.
Makes sense.
Okay. So you were censored, but not too censored. You know what I mean?
I didn't feel censored. I feel like, forcing yourself to be more creative, that's a good thing. You can find creative ways. You could see the most adult comedians out there have worked with Disney, Robin Williams being one of them.
For sure.
And Jim Carrey, he's my favorite. He's my favorite comedian. He's my favorite comedic actor. He's my favorite. I love him so much. I aspire.
So good.
Good.
Plus, he always drops these nuggets of wisdom that are very inspirational and stuff that he'll do during these interviews and press junkets and everything. It's like, he's a smart dude. Yeah, he's a little unhinged and crazy, but I think that's a good thing.
I think you got to be a little unhinged to play some of the characters he's brought to life. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I
think my favorite is actually Ace Ventura. When he played Ace Ventura, was my favorite.
That was choice. I love that and Liar Liar.
Oh yes.
I think a lot of people don't give Liar Liar as much appreciation as they should. But I think the Grinch one is the one that he should get the most props score, because to me he completely was a different person right there. If you didn't know that was Jim Carrey, you wouldn't say that was Jim Carrey. You know what I mean?
I could care less about the movie itself, but if you just give me all the Grinch scenes, they're brilliant.
Amazing.
Ironically, he doesn't. That's the role he hates. He least likes. He doesn't like that role that much. Maybe just because the costume. He hated the costume so much.
Yes.
I can imagine having to get all that fur and stuff attached to your skin. Oh,
most of these actors will tell you it's a pain in the ass to sit in the makeup chair for hours on end. At the beginning of the day, like at 3 or 4 in the morning, you film for 12 hours, and then you got to sit in the makeup chair again to get it off. Lather, rinse, repeat. It's like, oh. I mean, you're getting that nice payday, but still.
Is it worth it? It makes you think.
Is it worth it for your mental health?
Another question I actually want. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. No, one question I actually want to ask, because I saw that you actually played Escanor in 7 Deadly Sins. How did you take on the persona of such a prideful person in that way? Like, we know how Escanor is we know his prideful personality. So how did you actually personify that?
Well, I was approached by Bang Zoom, the studio, because I've been doing projects with them for years. So I was on their audition list. They actually reached out, didn't have me audition. They said, "We know you'd be great for this. Do you want to take it on?" Because it's actually 2 roles, 1 character. Here he is at night, this
True.
timid, shy little guy, and during the day with the sun, who decided that? Like,
Dude,
let's just make him manly. The manliest man in manime. His abs have abs.
I love it. I love it, dude. I love that you did a voice for it. Like it suits you so well. It suits you, especially
Thank
like
you.
your range of voice. Because I like I said, I've seen another videos. You said how like you can do like really low kids up to like even manly man. It's like you have such a broad range of voice. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you. Tons of fun. I am making a living doing what I love. I'm very, very blessed. This is like the peak of all things. You shouldn't be seeking fame and fortune. You got to find something that you can pay the bills with, do your creative endeavors, and that's just like the perfect life work balance right there, where it doesn't really feel like work. It feels like I'm ready to do this. Bring on the challenges, and whatever happens, happens. If I don't get cast on something, it just wasn't meant to be, but I'm not going to give up because I love what I do.
And
Yeah,
the most part,
something
you
that
also
you
have
have fun doing. I feel that.
exactly. I was just gonna say that you're having fun with that's the best part. You always want to have fun,
Always,
and
always.
I can
When it
tell.
stops being
Yeah,
fun, you got to find something else to do, you
I
know?
can definitely tell you love to have fun. Like you were very fun, especially like the way you're doing your characters. Last like it's like is he fun? You sure you ask if he's fun? Look at him. He's a definition of fun.
Good
I
time.
think that what you just said, Bang Zoom, they basically reaching out to you and automatically giving you a role shows how important networking is and everything. Because
Yep.
most likely they wouldn't have done that if they don't like working with you or anything like that. So I thought that's pretty cool. To give an example of that.
Amazingly. Um, I'm so grateful. And yeah, and it's hard for me. Again, introverted, shy. I have a little bit
Yeah,
of
I'm right
social
there with you.
anxiety, like. It's like I can put on the mask for a little bit. Not that I'm being fake, but it's like I gotta portray confidence, not desperation. I gotta not stammer on my words. I gotta just act like, all right, I'm meant to be here. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk to you person to person. Great to see you. Great to meet you. I want you to understand that I'm not here for what you can do for me. That's all a side benefit. I want to meet industry colleagues, my equals, superiors, whatever, whether you're above me in your career or you're new at the career. Let's treat everyone the same.
Okay. So being an introvert, how is it like doing cons and stuff? Is it hard meeting people, or did it take you a while to get to the point where it's like, okay, I can go to cons and meet people? Because I know me myself, it's okay talking one on one, but when you have to talk publicly to a bunch of people and stuff like that, that's when I start to get like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. This is a lot. I don't feel like I'm gonna be able to express myself the way I want to express myself.
Well, I kind of see it as part of my job. I go to cons,
Okay.
and this is a chance to interact with I mean, obviously, you're making money and you're making a living. That's
Hmm.
very important. And part of the game that you play is, you got to go out there and help make positive memories for the fans because you wouldn't be where you are without them.
True.
And I tell them to their face, it's like, thank you for sharing your story, whether it's inspiration or, hey, you were entertaining in this, and I love this. Has helped me get through a rough patch in my life. That's the real icing on the cake right there. That's something that I didn't expect would be such a huge perk to being a voice actor. Not only am I doing what I love, but I'm affecting people in such a positive way, and they're sharing those stories on social media, and they're coming to the appearances, and it's like, man, this is just so cool. And yeah, at the end of the day, I'm zapped. My social battery is depleted. I got to go back to the hotel and maybe postmate some dinner, you know. And all the
I
younger
feel
guests are
that.
like, let's all go out, and like, sorry, I'm too old. Yeah.
I done met my 50 people for the day. I need to calm down.
Yeah, I gotta unwind. And I do that sometimes even in the green room, but the green room is where our colleagues can actually interact with each other and catch up with each other's lives because everyone's so busy in their own life doing stuff. They're married, they have kids, they have other jobs, some of them. And it's really hard to say, oh, finally in the break room, I haven't seen you in 6 months. What's new? Like, oh, that's good. All right, finish lunch. Let's go back out there. Let's get on the front lines. Let's meet some more people.
But my next question I want to ask you, the main reason I wanted to bring you on is basically to talk about your experience working on Dragon Ball Z. You voiced many different characters, but you really left your mark with Gohan. Can you tell me what Dragon Ball means to you and some of your favorite moments from the series?
Yeah, well, I started as a fan in the late 90s. The Ocean dub from Canada aired first, the first two
Okay.
sagas over and over again. I became very, very intrigued and just got sucked in. It was just like, this is so cool. I think the first thing I saw of an actual episode was Piccolo getting his arm blown off or something. It's like, whoa, and I love the animation style. And
That's against Raditz, yeah.
yeah, I just instantly gravitated toward it. Then I found myself obsessed. I bought a bunch of action figures and toys, and then suddenly this opportunity to become a part of it with the audition. And I go in, and it's like, wow, this feels so good. I'm a part of it now. And yeah, getting to voice moments like adult Gohan in the Otherworld tournament. It's like, you want to see a Super Saiyan, or should I take it to the next level? That's a cool moment. Majin Buu saga, fight you? No, I want to kill you. So cool. I love doing the Saiyaman rap. I don't remember the words, but the whole Saiyaman saga, yeah, it's filler. Do you need it? No. But boy, was it fun to do. And then the Beast transformation, the Tournament of Power. There's a lot of great moments in there. And plus, I have other characters too, like Ox King, Chi-Chi's dad. I'm an old boy, I just make him a really derpy version of Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh.
Wow. Now that you say that, I can see
that. That's
Ooh, yeah. And then being the narrator, there are multiple narrators on the show. I'm not even the current one on Super. It's, I'm the third one on Z, and that's the one that has been reissued the most on home video and streaming, is the uncut Dragon Ball Z dub, where I'm like, it was first Doc Harris. He passed away a few months ago. Rest in peace. And then Dale Kelly, who is one of the Ginyu Force, I forget who. Then he kind of stepped away for a while, and then I took over next time on Dragon Ball Z. And that's what people seem to remember. And yeah, a really, really cool thing.
Was that during Kai?
No, that's before Kai. On Kai, they actually used Doc Morgan, who is a Dallas DJ also. Okay. And he's still doing the narrator stuff for all the games and everything.
So when you first did it, did you know you were auditioning for Dragon Ball?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I had radio station coworkers say, hey, at the time they were called Funimation, and now they're Crunchyroll. But back then they were just Funimation. And they said, hey, I got a phone number for you to call. There's open casting call. And I had phone anxiety too, but I got through it. I made the call. And they said, yeah, we're doing open auditions. We're holding them this date, this time. Are you available to come in? It's like, yeah, absolutely. And I went in wearing an off-center bad bootleg Goku shirt. And I think Justin Cook or John Bergmeyer were there, and they said, visually, we didn't tell you this, but we saw what you were wearing. It's like, oh, great, a fan. He's not going to be any good. Because, yeah, everyone that wants to be a voice actor, they don't understand. It's like, being a fan, no, that's not enough. You got to be a good actor. Well, I do good impressions. No, we don't need impressions. That's a great parlor trick. You can make your friends and family laugh. No, you have to be able to act and bring that character to life. It's not just, 5 seconds of a Christopher Walken impression. So you have to sustain it for, however the length of episodes or whatnot. So I went in, gave my all. I read for Gohan. I probably read for some others that I didn't recognize at the time, because I'd only seen those first two sagas loop over and over again. And then the Canadian dub moved to Texas, and that's where I came on board.
Okay. I actually have a question for you. So this is basically the theme of my own personal podcast. Not trying to shout out anything, but I'm just explain the theme. It's called Anime Journey. Your anime journey is basically would you say your anime journey started off with Dragon Ball, or is it a different anime start off as a kid?
As a kid, the word anime didn't exist yet. So I was watching things animated in the 60s, but would air in reruns in the 70s, me growing up. Speed Racer. And then after Star Wars, they dubbed Battleship Yamato. They changed it to Star Blazers. And then we had Gotcha Man, which they turned to Battle of the Planets. And I was watching that obsessively. And then in the 80s, we had Robotech, Voltron. Huge fan of that stuff. Vampire Hunter D, Ghost in the Shell, Akira. I was a fan of all this stuff before. I mean, it went through just being cartoons, just in general, to Japanimation, which sounds very racist. And then anime comes along.
That's actually pretty cool. Actually, I would say that was good. That's actually your journey started basically from that watch as a kid and teenager, adult, and now look where it's got you from just simply waking up Saturday morning. It's like, oh, what's this? You finally see just giant robots fighting each other or a speed racer just racing around the whole street track. And then now you look what you're doing now. You're voicing actually legit anime characters. That's an incredible journey.
Yeah, and the career did start with Dragon Ball Z, something, again, I started as a fan of, and then I became a part of. So it's really cool. I would used to go to Comic-Con type shows in Dallas as a fan, sci-fi, comic books, video games, toys, action figures, and then suddenly I'm on the other side of that. Now I'm a guest at cons alongside the toys, the action figures, and all that stuff.
Were you so psyched when you actually were you so psyched when you found out you actually got the role like for me to go? I was like, oh, I'm in Dragon Ball, I'm in Dragon Ball.
You couldn't peel me off the ceiling. I tried calling all my friends and my parents, and no one would pick up. They were busy doing other stuff. So I was
really
just
need
like,
to tell y'all something.
I was just going around in my apartment, just like, yes, 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 literally a dream come true, even though it's just an audition. But oh my gosh. But then, when 2 weeks passed after that audition, Chris Sabat called. And he said,
okay.
Chris Sabat, Funimation, I want you to come in and do some voices for us. I'm like, yes.
Oh my
He was a voice director, wasn't he?
Yeah. Chris directed, he not only voiced 1 million characters on Z, but he was also the voice director, the primary one.
Wasn't he like the main person trying to push Dragon Ball to how like popular it kind of is right now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone is kind of work for hire. And
Okay.
he was hired to direct the dub. And, it's just a well-oiled machine. You have the writers, the translators, the audio mixers, all this stuff. And then the marketing team. And then above, their Funimation is just the license holder for the United States. And then it all goes back to Toei. Toei has the final say on everything.
Sure. One thing I want to say that's amazing that you're actually a voice actor that actually enjoyed anime before you got into it, so like you knew what you were getting into. Because I've talked to people who be like, "No, I don't really watch anything that I'm in," which it hurts a little bit because you're like, "Oh man, I really thought you like dive deep." But then it also makes me think like, well, you have to be a great actor to the point that you can just play in these roles and forget it, and it's just not nothing. You know what I mean? Like you could just
Kind of
jump
like
in
you
like
cram for a test. And then you do the test and you walk out of the classroom, you immediately forgot everything that you just got.
I know the feeling. That was me back in high school with math classes. Me.
Absolutely. Me too. And math. I was like, I can't math. I just can't. And I would go in and I give my all. What I appreciate about the craft of acting, period, not just voice acting, but acting is, you're inhabiting the mind, the mindset of a character and getting to bring them to life and doing all that. And improv comes into play, even though we're not always changing the script at willy-nilly and doing this, that, and the other and changing stuff because it has to be approved. But little nuances, maybe a little reaction or a little pre-life to a thing like, I don't know, as instead of saying, I don't know. See how the subtle tweak could make it's like, oh, it sounds a little more legit, a little more genuine, and something that matches the lip sync and the original intent of the line. And so, we're a blank slate. We show up to the session. It's a cold read, man. We're seeing that footage for the first time, seeing the script for the first time, and performing it for the first time. Maybe you knock out the line. We do it line by line, not, scenes at a time, but like a line or two, maybe. We watch the scene in Japanese to see the progression and see, okay, how big is this line delivery? How small, how subtle does it need to be? And any other notes the director wants us to know, because the director is the keeper of all information. It's like, here's what you absolutely need to know. We're going to bullet point this. In this episode, Goku does this, and you're doing this, and then it's like, in this scene, you're doing this. So, there's no time to sit there and casually watch the episode and do all that stuff. You know, you do that on your own time because time is money. They're paying you to be there. So you got to work.
True,
Fair
true. But my next question I want to ask you, do you think there's any misconceptions about voice acting?
Oh, yeah. Like I said before, people that do impressions or think that they just because they have a good voice, it's not about that. When voice acting is acting, the emphasis is on acting. Voice acting just means you're removing the physical from it. So it doesn't matter what you look like. You're not, hitting your mark on a stage or an eye line for cameras or any of that. It's strictly vocal performance, channeling the physicality into your voice. And for some, it's too much of a challenge. For others, it's like, I know I prefer it because I don't want to be an on-camera actor. You have to memorize dialogue. I can't do that. I'm terrible at that. And then, I don't look like most of the characters I play because I am turning 56 this year, but I'm voicing dudes half my age or younger. And
For sure.
I'm glad that you can't see me. I like that voiceover is that way. And I can wear PJs to the session. Or, I wouldn't, but I literally could just look any way I want to go to the session to record, or during the pandemic or auditions or home sessions, pants are optional. They're not going to see me. They just need to hear me. So I love the perks.
For sure. I love that voice actor gives everyone the ability to play anything. Because, literally, you can be a tree. You know what I mean? There's a talk,
Right.
There's so many different things you can be and opportunities to get into it. So,
yeah. And every actor is going to learn through training what their golden sweet spot is, their niche. It's like, there's things that all these guys with wild ranges and stuff, the Mel Blancs of the world, can do. If they want someone like that, they'll go to them to hire that. But what can you bring to the table as an actor? It's like, well, I've got a solid hero voice. It's like, all right, let's hear your demo. A lot of people make money with just their regular speaking voice.
For sure.
I was gonna say, let's see, I'm trying to look at my notes here. Oh, you actually won an award at Anime Expo back in 2009. First, I never even knew that something like that was even possible. Like, actually, that's my first time hearing about awards. It was for your award. The award, I'm ADHD, so my mind raced faster than my words. So sorry if I stand or remember.
Okay.
Basically, what I'm trying to ask is, you basically awarded for playing Kamina, which is for Gurren Lagann, such an iconic mecha anime back in the day, back in early 2000s. So, how incredible was it? First of all, how incredible was it to win such an award? And then, how was the award even awarded to you? Like, how did you find out you were winning this award?
Well, the organization, let me know. I actually didn't attend the ceremony because no one knew how to get me there or if I was even allowed to go. I have no idea what the logistics were for that, but I think that award was kind of based on votes. So I used social media and said, hey, if you like my performance in Kamina, I'm up for a nomination for the English Voice of the Year. Place your votes. I think Dave Wittenberg, Kakashi from Naruto was also up, and Samuel L. Jackson.
For Afro Samurai?
Yes, sir.
Wow, you beat out Samurai? That's amazing. I'll always bring that up.
I mean, yeah. It sounds good to say I beat Samuel L. Jackson in one thing.
Man.
So, if you saw the list, like I beat him. Like just one, even just one is still incredible.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one reward that he doesn't have.
That's true. That's so true. But he has a career.
He has a career.
When Afro Samurai was created, the creator of Afro Samurai specifically wanted Samuel Jackson to voice his character. Like, he had him in mind when he's actually creating him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's it.
Yeah, that was actually it was behind the scenes directory. Like, actually, I think it was I bought the movie on Blu-ray and I watched it, and they're interviewing the creator of Afro Samurai. He's like, yeah, when I was making this, I had Samuel Jackson in mind. I wanted him to be the voice.
I wonder how you talk him into that, because this doesn't seem like something he would probably normally do. But I don't know Samuel Jackson. You know what I mean? But that's just interesting.
I mean, a lot of those big movie stars and celebs, they've got a marketing team and agents and managers, and those are the ones that negotiate, and they see dollar signs. It's like, hey, let's charge you this. The actors are normally like, I want to do the gig. or I don't want to do the gig. That's like, really? It's a lot of money. And then some will do it for the money. And then others will be like, no, I'm good with that. Like a lot of the actors wanted to work with Tarantino on Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction because they love Reservoir Dogs, and they cut their fee in half. And it's like, make compromises. Sometimes it's a really great thing to make compromises, especially when it comes to artistic vision.
For sure, because that's one piece of media that's always going to live on forever. That's one thing I always say that's amazing about voice acting and stuff like that. That's like things where you can kind of leave something in history that people can come back and look back onto. So it's like you're never truly going to be forgotten. People are going to look back and hear your voice in older Dragon Ball animes and stuff like that. So that's something I always want to do, leave something behind like that. For my next question, I want to ask you is, since you brought up being having ADHD, you opened up about your autism diagnosis. How has that impacted your career, and do you feel like that has shaped your approach to voice acting in any particular way?
I think it has shaped my approach to life. Going to therapy where I learned about that diagnosis. Learning really changes your mindset when you go to a therapist and they help you work through things in your mind, because everyone has trauma. Everyone has made decisions that they regret, or choices or things they wish with their dynamics with their friends, their loved ones, their relationships or whatnot. And I could look back and say, man, I wish I had gone to a therapist so much sooner. That would have changed my outlook. And it explained a lot about my communication or my difficulty with communication. Or sometimes I get overstimulated, not like other people on the spectrum that require headphones and all that stuff, and I need to leave the room. It's not like that for me. I just have to be in a situation where, okay, at the end of the day, I get to rest. Okay, cool. All right. I love music. I love movies. I love all that kind of visual stimulation and all that. But I'm not really much for the party scene or going to clubs or, because you can't hear anybody.
True.
Not really big into crowds, even though cons are crowded. But I mean, it's everything is circumstantial. Like what are the factors? What are the key ingredients of this particular situation? So, if I break things down on an emotional level, or maybe things that I just have to simplify and compartmentalize and all that, and learning that this is how folks on the high functioning spectrum do things, then that does help. I don't think it's really necessarily affected my career, just my like social interactions with my own wife. She's able to better communicate with me. For example, if someone is dropping hints and I don't pick up on the hints, it's like, look, you don't have to be blunt necessarily, but if you need something from me and I'm not getting it, go ahead and just say, hey, would you mind doing this? Instead of me just going, gosh, I sure could use some help.
I understand this completely so much. That happens to me all the time, especially with my wife. She was like, in the beginning when we were first talking, like it'd be like, she told me the fact that I was dropping hints of the fact that I liked you a lot. I'm like, you can't just jump hints. You can't just be blowing, because like, if you tell me you like me, cool. My senses are dull. Like, so if you like me, I can tell you jumping all these hits. It's just that so I know she was trying to get me to pursue. She was trying to get me to pursue her, and instead she pursued me.
Right. And yeah, it's a process, but I mean, it's doable. People can navigate life. You just gotta, we can only use the tools we have, which is what your parents did raising you, whether good, bad, indifferent, emotional, physical trauma, and all that. Maybe that's what they experienced growing up, and that's all they knew. So that they did all that they knew how to do. And it just makes you look at things it's like, never that there's an excuse for abuse, but there's not necessarily a time when you should keep an open mind to the fact that, not everything you do to someone, you may not perceive it as abusive mentally, verbally, or whatnot. But if you really, really go back and think about it, it's like, oh, I really could have worded that different. No wonder this person's avoiding me. I was rude. I thought I was just being factual and saying, here's what I need you to do. And then the other person said, man, you're just being a jerk, man.
Yeah. You
So-
never know how people interpret what you say. You know what I mean? Because we all can
Exactly.
interpret things differently.
Especially in text messages. Context gets lost.
Man, that's why I
yes.
love to talk to people over the phone.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to be sarcastic in a text message because is he serious or is he? I don't know.
I've had a lot of problems with that. People have to call me like, "Hold up, dude, why you got an attitude, man? I'm literally joking. I didn't know you were taking it like that. I didn't know I had to put that in the message. You know what I mean?
Can we make a sarcasm emoji? Do we have one besides a wink?
I think the sarcasm emoji is actually the one with the monocle.
Oh, the monocle. Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Yes. The one thing I actually do want to ask you about, I don't know, Alvin, I remember you actually discussed this in a previous interview, and not many people know this. In a previous interview you had, you mentioned in Wreck-It Ralph 2, I believe, they used your voice for Ryu, but you actually weren't there to actually voice it. They actually just, I think, they lifted an audio from a previous recording.
Mm-hmm. They did. I was not asked to come into the studio, which I live 15 minutes away from, but yeah, they pay me like, I don't know, $1,000 reuse fee, not reusage fee to lift that audio and use it in that. And the nice thing about when you're in a big union production like that, it goes out in theaters, home video, streaming, and all that. You make residuals. So even though I was not in the movie, I got paid. There's a paper trail, and I made residuals from both Wreck-It Ralphs, which is
that's
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah,
I remember you talking about that. What I want you, based off that, I remember you talked about how you and your union were actually talking about making amendments to the contract where, because we all know about AI, it's developing where everybody's just gonna start lifting your voice from everything and start generating. Have there been any amendments made about that where they actually get like something in the contract?
yeah. There are a lot of studios that have made amendments to their, offering AI protections for the voice actor and such. But a lot of the main stuff within the union, there's still a standoff attitude from a lot of the major game publishers. So the game strike is still going on, and that's why you're not seeing a lot of actors promoting video game projects right now. They want to show solidarity. They want to, as a message, whether they recorded on it or not, it's like I could promote the new DLC content for Sparking Zero, but it would make me look like I'm undercutting everybody's thing, saying, like, hey, let's stand our ground. Let's make the companies think, see our value, not go the cheap route and just, program an algorithm with your recordings and then suddenly they don't need you anymore. AI is a threat to every walk of life, not just actors or voice actors, musicians, artists. They're a threat to every person who picks up the phone and are getting scammed by, people saying, this is your dad. I'm in jail. And it sounds just like your dad. And then suddenly $500 have gone to some hackers or something.
I just seen a report about that. Some AI generated voice of Brad Pitt tricked a lady to send in almost $800,000. So I still don't understand how that can happen, but still, that's whew, I guess I just crazy to think that technology can get better and better to the point to one day you might answer the phone thinking it's your boss or the bank, and then you just sending money, and man, it's just scary.
It gets incrementally better as time goes on. It sounds more convincing. They got the technical sound of the voice down, but the intonation and everything seems robotic. So when they use AI, they use Mark Hamill AI in Boba Fett or Mandalorian or whatever, and it sounded like it. It sounds like, man, Mark Hamill's really phoning it in here. He sounds so wooden. And then I learned after the fact that, it's AI. I mean, he agreed to it, and I'm sure he got quite a payday, and that's okay. But, if they're just going to do that and lift your voice, and you got to be compensated, first of all. There needs to be transparency. They need to be open and honest with you. On the contract, it'll say, we are using it for this, that, and the other. And you have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb or have your agent go through it and agree to that. Because if you don't, you sign it, you've got no leg to stand on if you come back and go, hey, I didn't agree to that. It's like, according to your contract, you did. You would lose any lawsuit. So
Making sure you read the fine print because that's really important.
There's a lot of fine print. It's really annoying and boring.
So
For my,
go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
for my next question, I wanted to ask you. You voiced the S-class hero Atomic Samurai in One Punch Man. What are some of your favorite aspects of the character, and how did you find him? How did you make him your own?
Usually I just go with something as simplistic as seeing what he looks like. And then the director, Chris Kaysen in season 1 anyway, he told me a bit about the character and kind of his swagger and all that stuff. And basically just based on those bullet points, I'm able to kind of craft together in the moment, which is something I really love about this craft. I mean, I'm able to just put things together, do it. We try it. It's like tweak it a little bit, a little higher, put a little more raspy in it, all that stuff. So, to be honest, I haven't actually seen the show One Punch Man outside of what I've dubbed. And you'll find as you talk to other actors that they haven't seen a lot of what they're in. It's not because they don't want to. There's just not enough hours in the day to watch it all. There's so much content. I can say that out of everything that I've been in, what I've seen most of is actually Dragon Ball Z. I can't say that for GT or Super. I've seen the theatrical movies for the past 10 years, but movies are easier to consume,
digest,
an hour or two as opposed to seasons,
Man, some seasons you'd be like, "This is how many episodes is in the season?" Because it's like 500 episodes,
Well, that's true, and I don't want to really start One Piece. I'm sure it's great and all, but I don't want to be in an old folks' home and be like, "Okay, I'm caught up."
Well, no,
And it's still going. You know what I mean? So it's
I was gonna say you can actually probably catch up on it now since they're actually going back and redoing the series actually to make it actually more, just trying to make it shorter and actually like cut out lots of excessive parts of the story that weren't really necessary.
So they're doing Kai. They're doing One Piece Kai.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll wait and just watch that truncated version then. I don't know. It's going to have new animation, right?
Yeah, it's going to be animation.
I think they're releasing it now, I think.
It gets a little facelift. Okay. Well, that's cool. I've had fun working on One Piece as Capone Veggie, the gangster dude. Yeah, hey, how's it going, man? With the fortress inside his chest and all that.
That's so cool, dude. Dude, I want to say this. It is epic that you actually got to be a character in the big three. In the big three, like you got Bleach, One Piece, Naruto. I was like, dude. And then even before the big three, you did the founder of the big three. You did Dragon Ball. I was like, dude, how epic is that? You actually got to work on the 4 iconic anime that started the whole our generation, like his and our generation, the millennial generation of anime. That's really just fun off for the next generation, the generations after. Like you were there to actually voice it.
I'm a lucky dude. Oh my God, I'm a lucky dude. So thankful to God or whatever, the universe, the power of the fans and love and everything. It's like, man, unreal.
Oh man, I did not. I just had to do a little bit of a research, but I did not know you played Aizen in Bleach.
Ooh.
I have to give you a props for that. That's an amazing role.
Thank you.
And you got so much. It's so many more scenes that you got coming up in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. So how has that been? And how have seeing the popularity of that anime come back into fruition type thing?
I actually thought they would not get around to that last arc when we finished all that was animated, and then the 10th anniversary came and went. And it's like, oh, that would have been perfect to drop. Hey, let's do this last arc. And then I thought, okay, well, it's not going to happen. Well, never say never, folks.
Man,
it came back with a vengeance. And so now they're taking their sweet time animating it, but they make it look like feature quality animation. So they're taking their time and they're divvying it out. So instead of 26 episode seasons, you're getting 12 episode arcs. And then you've got that break, which is a pain. You got to wait, but they want to make it look good. How many shows have you seen where there's animation arcs that just like, ooh, they didn't try very hard here.
Yeah.
They've got the time and the budget to make it look top tier, then they should.
And they killed it this season. This last season was amazing, man.
Oh, that's cool. Cool. Yeah, glad to hear it. I've heard nothing but positive feedback. And I'm stoked that I've got another Funko Pop coming out that is just up for pre-order, the Funko.com exclusive.
Is it in the chair, Sama?
No, it's not the chair one. It's the one
Oh,
with the
okay.
mullet and the white outfit, but they have a chase version too. So I ordered a couple, and hopefully one of them's a chase, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we're winding down to probably our last few questions. I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead and let Carlos go ahead.
All right. So the last one question I want to ask you, your podcast. How's your podcast going on, man? I know you call it from interviews. I think you called it the Intergalactic Boombox. Is that correct?
Intergalactic Boombox. That's what I called my old radio show on Radio Disney. It has been on hiatus actually for a couple of years because first world problem, I became too busy. Second of all, I had to take a break because I was a little burned out. I want to break it out, so bring it back. So I call it hiatus. I'm not done with it because I love doing it. It's just a geek news podcast that's in short form, like 10 to 15 minutes each week. And it's me doing geek news or reviews or whatever, but I'm interacting with myself as other original characters. I've got a couple of stoner aliens named Gits and Shiggles.
Mhm.
Hey, how's it going, man? Oh, pretty good. And then I've got Conspiracy, who's basically my impression of J. Jonah Jameson. He's J.K. Simmons. He's a
That's cool.
So I think this year would be a good time to bring it back now that we've had U.S. government disclosure. Oh, aliens are real. And people are like, whatever.
That's really cool. Next question is, what ambitions or goals do you have that you have yet to fulfill in the field of voice acting?
I want to voice act as a major role in a major cartoon series that becomes beloved and all that stuff. If I get to be on an animated feature film, of course, that would be amazing. So that's my goals. That's why I moved here to the West Coast. But now, doing things remotely is totally possible. Steve Bloom lives in
sure.
Hawaii. Roger Craig Smith lives in Idaho. You got the OG Sonic right there. And, people live where they live and they're able to still do the work. And if the client's like, nope, we want him here, who's to stop you from getting on a plane and coming out here doing the gig?
Yeah. And then most of these times it's only be like a few minutes or hours of reading. Then you can get to go back home. So
That's
it's no-
right. Your typical session is like a 2-hour chunk of time, and you're given what's called a minimum. So even if it takes 5 minutes, they'll pay you 2 hours minimum, for example. So they make it worth your while.
Do you have any voice? Do you have any advice for actually people who actually aspire to do voice acting or podcasting, either or?
Yeah, for podcasting, other than general things like try it, do the research, look online. There's a lot of YouTube videos about starting your own podcast, where to host it. There's a lot of free resources out there. Basically find a topic that you're passionate about and then do it consistently. Don't do one month and 6 months pass and you do another one. You're never going to gain a following like that. You have to have consistency. And it has to be fun. You can't do it for money. You have to do it because, hey, I like talking about this stuff. And hopefully it'll build an audience and find other like-minded people. And, hey, great. If you want to support me, yeah, make a donation, a Patreon or whatever. That'd be great. But first and foremost, you got to have fun with it. For voice acting, it's got to be something that you want so bad that you accept all the mental baggage that comes with it. A lot of rejection in the form of you do all these auditions and don't hear back. They don't call you or email you and say, sorry, we're going another direction. That almost never happens. If you get a call or a text saying, hey, congrats, you booked so-and-so. That's amazing. That's icing on the cake. Not only did you have fun working the audition, then they call you back and you get to work on the project. You get to add that to your resume. Lather, rinse, repeat through the years. Do you have to pick up and go to the West Coast? This is where a hub is for all sorts of projects. I think it's very important for people who start out to be there in person so the casting people and the directors and whatnot can see you face to face. I think that is very important. That human interaction is something you just can't replicate on a Zoom call. Even though it's technically possible to touch base, that's great. I want to be here and work with people face to face before I start going, hey, can I do this remotely? Thinking about moving to another state where it's cheaper. You got to live life and live within your means. So you got to do things, think it out. If you're going to move your life, save money. Don't come out here and just think you're going to land on your feet and just start working because this is what you want to do. That never happens. You can't walk into a grocery store and a casting person says, "You're it. You're the person." Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Makes sense.
Yes. And especially since it's open to everybody. Anybody that has a microphone or a recording studio in their house can literally become a voice actor. So the competition is just out there.
Competition's through the roof, but the plus side is we have technology, we have social media, we have ways of doing this. You can hop online with people around the world and do acting workouts and do projects and have fun doing fan dubs or whatnot. Just have fun. Get a nice cheap USB mic. And if you're ready to take the plunge after a few years of taking classes, and you talk to people and they say, "All right, I think you're ready to take things to the next level. Let's up our equipment. Let's get you in to talk to a demo producer." All this stuff takes time. It doesn't come quick, easy, or cheap, and nor should it, because anything worth having in life is worth that effort. You feel so much more a sense of accomplishment when you get there. So I tell people there's a great website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. Mr. D. Bradley Baker, a cartoon voice legend, and you hear him on all the Star Wars, Clone Wars, and everything. An amazing voice talent. He has cobbled together all this helpful advice on that website, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com.
All right, to post that below for all my listeners.
Most definitely. And then I think the last question I have for you, actually kind of two-parter.
Mhm.
Are there any recent shows that have been announced that you're voicing or directing?
I'm only directing, actually not shows, but a couple of games. They are out on iOS and Android on Google Play, called Mobile Legends Bang Bang and Watcher of Realms. I'm not in these games, but I do the voice directing for them and have for a couple of years. So very proud to work on this project. It's actually based out of a studio in Shanghai. They sit online on Zoom and listen in to the sessions as we record them. I have talent coming in person. I have remote talent. Sometimes I'm remote too. And, we just make it work. And it's a beautiful thing. We just wrapped Blue Exorcist, the latest season. We just wrapped, 1,000-Year Blood War for now. I'm sure there's other things coming down the pike, but I've got to be zip-lipped.
Oh, yeah, most
I lift
definitely.
about it until it comes out or I get the approval to talk about it. So I think the best way to see whatever I'm working on is just follow my socials. I'm still
Right.
active on Twitter. I don't want to call it X. It's Twitter. And I'm all over Instagram. I'm on TikTok, even if it goes away,
Man,
all that
hopefully
stuff.
not.
And the final
Hopefully
one-
not.
And the final one is actually, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt.
I was just gonna say I'm really easy to find. Google my name. You're gonna see all my links and find me. KyleAbear.com if you want to drop me an email.
Okay, cool. And then the last one is, what upcoming content are you actually are there any upcoming content that you're actually going to?
Yeah, I do, and I have to look at my calendar. Where's my cue card? I am going to as of January 24th through 26th, I'll be in Port Isabel, Texas for Lighthouse Matsuri. I'll be in Anime Town, Greenville, the last weekend of this month. I'll be in MegaCon in Orlando, Florida, the first weekend of February. Other things coming up. Yeah, Anime Impulse in the LA area, mid-February.
Oh,
Yeah, all over the place, man. So again,
Cool.
follow the socials, and my website has all links to all these events. And I hope to see y'all guys on the road.
I hope to see you. I really hope to see you in my city one day. I know and from March, I'm actually going to see Mel Flanagan. She's actually coming to my city.
Oh, sweet. She's awesome.
Before we close out, I just want to ask you, which role or character that you have played do you consider your best, or which one has hold the most significant? You hold more significant.
Well, I think Gohan's special for multiple reasons. He was my first big role. He basically kickstarted my career. I started as a fan of Dragon Ball. I've seen him evolve as a character. He's a dork. He's a great dad. He's a great husband. He's smart. He's funny. And he is now canon, the strongest character in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I'll give you
That's
that. Yeah.
cool.
All right, I'll go ahead and let Carlos close this out for us.
Yeah, that's actually all the time we have for today. As we know, this is Raysean Gadson from RGAP Podcast. Tell us where we can find you, man.
You guys can find me on all your podcasting platforms. We also just got us a YouTube channel. We've been posting a lot of videos there, so hopefully you guys can reach out and check them out and everything.
And then we have the amazing, incredible, most powerful canon character in all of anime universe, Hebert. Where can we find you, man?
KyleHebert.com. Kyle Hebert at Instagram and Twitter, and I'm on Blue Sky at Kyle Hebert. I'm on all the places.
Nice, great to hear, man. And myself, I'm Crazy Otaku. That's my username. You can call me Carlos L. As I said before, I run 2 podcasts. I run one called Myth Mighty Media, the Nerd Weed podcast, but I've just now started my own solo podcast, and this will be my very first episode called Anime Adventures Podcast, where I talk to people, ask them their journey on anime and how it changed their life and where they're at now. But we appreciate you guys listening, and it's been great talking to you, Kyle. Dude, you were like awesome. You're just awesome. You're just awesome. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. You're just awesome, man.
I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Right back to you guys and everyone watching and listening. Thank you. Stay safe out there. Let's make 2025 the best year yet.
Most definitely. Have a good one, man.
And with that, I want to say peace.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.